and next to me is
Andy.
And we're here, and how are you doing?
And if you notice, we have a change. Usually I'm the one doing the introduction. So before we start, I've got to make some disclaimers. Disclaimer number one, the topic that we are going to be talking about today, we have no interest in any company that is associated with it. We have no relatives that are associated with it. And we do not have any investments that are associated with it. This whole discussion is simply brought to you for your enjoyment. And you'll understand in a few moments why I say that. Now, we're also going to make another change. Usually, as you know, when we have these discussions, Carol represents you, and she has absolutely no idea what the topic is. Well, this week, it is totally different. Carol is prepared. She knows what the topic is, and we are really going to present it to you with so much flavor and so much taste that you wouldn't believe it. So let me start off by saying the following. In the brain, what does the brain respond to more when it comes to pleasure? Is it sex or chocolate?
Uh-oh, you're putting me on the spot, but I'm going to have to tell you it's chocolate.
Thanks. Boy, that makes me feel good. And what do you think? What do you think the brain responds to more when it comes to the pleasure zone? Yes, it is absolutely chocolate. So, one way to phrase it, if you're not getting enough sex, load up on chocolates and you'll be fine. See, you didn't expect that. So what are we going to be talking about today? We are going to be talking about the wonderful world of chocolate because we wanted to pick on a topic that we knew everybody would like. So here's the question. Is there anybody that doesn't like chocolate?
I've heard of a few people, not many, but remember there are different kinds of chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
So everyone has a different kind of taste. There are some people that might even be allergic to chocolate. But
yes.
I mean...
But generally
speaking,
we like chocolate. We like it so much that in the world, every year, $140 billion, billion with a B, is spent on the chocolate industry.
And you know what? I've helped them a little bit.
You have?
Yes.
So, let me go on to something else that might seem interesting. Let's assume for a moment you had these 4 chocolate items in front of you.
Okay.
And you were only allowed to pick one. And here are the 4. It is Kit Kat Bar, Toblerone, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, or Snickers. Which one would you pick up? Snickers, Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, Toblerone, or Kit Kat? Which one would you pick up?
The Peanut Butter Cup.
Peanut Butter Cup. And which one do you think I will pick up? I think you know.
The Kit Kat.
Kit Kat. Which one will you pick up? Did anybody say Snickers? Why? Snickers is the #1 selling candy that is out there. Snickers is the #1 candy.
And it'd probably because it has caramel in it. Caramel and chocolate go well together.
All right. It has a mixture of peanuts, caramel, and it's wrapped inside a layer of chocolate. It comes with hazelnuts. They love it. Number 2 is peanuts. Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
Yes.
Number 3 is Toblerone. Number 4 is Kit Kat. Now, here's something you probably don't realize. There is a chocolate ice cream that is the #1 chocolate ice cream in the world, in the United States. What do you think?
Cherry chocolate?
I need a name brand. Any idea? I need a name brand.
Haagen-Dazs.
Nope. Nice try. Ready for this? There's even a soap named after it.
A soap named after
Or a soap that has a similar name. I scratched that. A soap that has a
Dove.
similar... Dove. Exactly right. Dove. Cadbury Dairy Milk is the next one. Twix. Milka. And now, the 3 Musketeers is the 9th one. Here is what's going to surprise you. Is there a brand that I missed? That we all grew up with?
Yeah, but what is it?
This will shock you.
What?
Hershey's Milk Chocolate Bar is number 10.
Wow.
And guess what didn't even make the list?
Have they ever been up on top?
In the beginning when they created the industry. And guess what else is not on the list? It'll absolutely surprise you.
Cadbury?
No.
I don't know.
Oh, I used to love it. It comes in a blue package. It's wrapped in like aluminum.
Oh, Hershey's Kisses? No.
Hershey's Kisses, yeah. And we'll talk about that later.
I don't know.
Nestle's Crunch.
Nestle's
Did
Crunch.
not even make the list.
Wow. I'm surprised.
I'm going to go on just a couple more facts, and then I'm going to turn it over to Carol. And that is, you know when chocolate first became available or really known? 2000 BC. 2000 BCE. And it comes, as you know, from cocoa, which is what chocolate was created from. And at one time, it was a way for currency because what happened? It was, in fact, used in the Mayan culture as currency. So, Carol, what do you have for us to talk about this wonderful world of chocolate to keep everybody interested?
You know, typically women like chocolate a little bit more better than men. And there's a reason for that. Because they've studied the differences in the brain and they agree that women have a stronger craving for chocolate. And it has something to do with estrogen and progesterone. And it affects the brain differently. So if a woman eats a piece of chocolate, it will actually decrease her appetite. And if she eats the more chocolate, she actually decreases her craving for more chocolate. But initially the craving is so strong, I have to have a piece of chocolate, and then you're satisfied.
Now, I can prove that because as we were preparing for this, I really should have recorded this. You're not going to believe it. So right before we started this, Carol said, nope, we can't start yet. I said, why not? What was the reason?
I said, I have to have a piece of chocolate. I've been talking about chocolate. I need a piece of chocolate. So I went and I got the chocolate, and it was chocolate-covered peanut in a caramel. And it really satisfied me. It satisfied me so much, I don't want to eat any more chocolate.
Well, there you go. So, if you have a craving for something, eat some chocolate. Bet you never knew that. Get away from the Oreos. Get away from the Twix.
Well, Oreos are chocolate with cream in it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
No, but they make... You're right. I stand corrected. Yeah. All right, what else you got for us?
Well, do you know that there are 4 types of chocolate? I bet you do. But I bet you don't know the last one. Everybody knows about milk chocolate. Not my favorite. It could be yours.
Well, wait a minute. You're thinking I know everything about milk chocolate. I really don't.
No. I'm saying there's 4 types of chocolate.
Yes.
Milk chocolate is the most widely distributed type of chocolate. Not my favorite chocolate. It's too mild for me. But milk chocolate has a creamier, mild taste, and it's very, very popular in the United States. Many candy bars are made with a milk chocolate base. Then there's the second one. That's my favorite. Dark chocolate.
Oh, yeah. She likes
Dark chocolate is the closest form to cocoa. And it's also known as plain chocolate because there are not many additives. And that's why they say that if you're going to eat chocolate, you should eat dark chocolate because it's more healthy for you. Semi-sweet chocolate has a little bit less sugar, and bittersweet chocolate is more bitter, but they're all dark chocolate and they're great. Then there is white chocolate. And
that's my favorite. I love. You give me white chocolate any day of the week. That's for me.
But you know what they say?
No.
That white chocolate isn't really a chocolate.
Uh-oh.
It isn't really a chocolate because there's no cocoa solids in it. But, we'll consider it a chocolate. It has a mild taste, less taste than milk chocolate. Now, here's the one I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
What's that?
Ruby chocolate.
I never heard of it.
Very new. It was released a few years ago in 2017, and the company was working on a new form of chocolate and they melded raspberries, so that's why it's called ruby chocolate. But raspberries and chocolate pair very well, and it's actually delicious. I haven't, and I know that there are chocolate bars with raspberry fillings inside, but I actually haven't seen a ruby chocolate, and I'd like to search that out.
All right, we're going to search out a ruby chocolate because the other thing that I like, even though I said I like vanilla chocolate, how about when you take a strawberry and what do? You dip it in chocolate, and isn't it wonderful?
What about a pretzel? You dip pretzels in chocolate.
Yeah, we're going to talk about so many other ways to have chocolate in just a few moments. By the way, please, I know what we're probably doing. We're giving you a craving for chocolate. I beg of you, don't leave us. Stay here, okay? Please. Here we go. Now, how about this? You know, Columbus in 1492, he actually brought back to Spain the cocoa bean, which of course is the formula for making chocolate. And when they brought it back, they looked like almonds, and it didn't get any attention. It was disregarded.
Wow. But
yes.
They really didn't know what they had.
They really didn't know what they had. And one of the first slaves that were ever bought was purchased with chocolate, 100 cocoa beans.
You mean, the cacao beans, yeah?
Yeah, exactly right. Finally, in 1528, don't worry, I'm not going to give you a whole history lesson, but in 1528, Cortez presented the Spanish king with cocoa beans from the New World with the necessary tools for its preparation, and Cortez taught him how to make chocolate. So it goes back to all the way in 1528, and Cortez inspired a major breakthrough when it came to it. 1569, the Roman Church took a serious look at chocolate. You probably never knew that this was so important back then. And I'm gonna skip a lot because there's so much to cover in today's session about chocolate. However, it goes back to when all the countries started getting involved, and of course, a trendy coffee house took to chocolate. An avant-garde London coffee house in 1674 called At the Coffee Mill and Tobacco Roll goes down in the annals of history for serving chocolate in cakes and in rolls in Spanish style.
Sounds delicious.
It sure does. And how many of us don't like a great piece of chocolate cake? And one more, finally somebody decided to tax chocolate. Tax it. In 1704, the Germans imposed a tax on chocolate. Chocolate makes its appearance in Germany, and Frederick of Prussia reacts by imposing a tax. Anybody wishing to pay homage to its pleasures has to pay 2 thalers for a permit. All right, Carol, what do you got for us?
Well, did you know that there are multiple celebrations of chocolate each year, like a holiday, a festival? The first one, July 7th of every year, is actually Chocolate Day. And then, let's see, what else? Then there's National Milk Chocolate Day, which comes on July 28th.
Wow.
Ready for this one? There's International Chocolate Day on September 13th. And of course, National Bittersweet Chocolate with Almond on November 7th. Well, I'm going to mark them down on my calendar, and maybe not the milk chocolate. I might substitute and, get a little wily because I'll have all the other ones. I'm not crazy for milk chocolate, but I'm sure if you are, that's great.
Is there a white chocolate day?
I don't think, international chocolate could be potpourri of all the chocolate.
Ah, all right. And what else you got for us?
Well, as I said before, you know that white chocolate is not really chocolate because it doesn't contain any cocoa solids or chocolate liquor. It isn't chocolate in the strictest sense, but it does have parts of the cacao bean, mainly the cocoa butter.
So I heard somewhere that chocolate, the cocoa bean, might not be a plant, it might be a vegetable. What do you know about that?
Well, let's see. It comes from the milk and the dark chocolate come from the cacao bean, which grows on the cacao tree. It's an evergreen from the family and of Malvaceae. Other members of the family include, ready for this, okra and cotton. So this makes the most important part of the sweet treat a vegetable. That's why they call it a vegetable, because of okra.
All right, may I make a couple of things? So let me ask you this question, and I think by the way I asked the question, you can probably figure out the answer. What country is most famous for chocolate?
It is Mexico and Central and South America.
Nope.
Africa.
No, one of the most famous countries for chocolate.
Yeah. Oh, that would be Switzerland.
Switzerland, yes, absolutely. Well, that was Switzerland, but which country had first developed a chocolate factory? What country do you think was the first one to develop before the Swiss did, I should say? The United States of America in 1765, the first chocolate factory.
Was that Hershey?
We'll talk about it a little bit later. 1765. Now, by the way, that was before America even was declared free. Chocolate came before the Day of Independence. What do you think about that? And the first chocolate-made machine was actually done in Spain. This is probably more facts than you ever thought possible about chocolate. And then, back in 1853, heavy import duties made by the English for chocolate were substantially reduced. Carol, what do you got for us?
Well, as I said before, the cacao bean is native to Mexico and both Central and South America. They started first cultivating the bean far back at 1250 BCE and even earlier. And guess what the first treat was? It was hot chocolate, but brewed in Mexican and Aztec culture. And Mexican hot chocolate is very, very rich and very, very delicious. And they serve it at special occasions like weddings and things like that.
Now, something else you probably never realized before, if we have some veterans from World War II, you might know this. And that is the U.S. government recognized chocolate's role because it allocated valuable shipping space for the importation of cocoa beans, which would give many weary soldiers the strength to carry. And in today's world, the U.S. Department of the Army D-rations include 3 4-ounce chocolate bars. Chocolate has even been taken into space as part of the diet of U.S. astronauts. So, what do you think about that?
Interesting.
Now, let's go on to something else. Let's talk about what different types of products can have chocolate.
Okay, guess what? If you thought chocolate was just for dessert, you're wrong. It's amazing what they can put in chocolate. For instance, have you ever had cocoa rub baby back ribs?
What?
Yes. You know, we're taking cocoa powder and you're making a dry rub, just like you do with steak and hamburgers, and you're putting it all over. I bet you it's delicious.
Well, I'll never find out.
I know, you can't have baby back ribs.
No, and what else can I have, even if I could?
Oh, you can't have the chocolate.
I can't have the chocolate.
No, he can have the white chocolate, but you can't have the chocolate.
Is there no milk in white chocolate? It's not dairy-free product?
No, the chocolate could be a part of chocolate.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Are you ready for this? The typical Mediterranean food, baba ganoush. There's actually a white chocolate baba ganoush. That's something I'm going to be trying very soon. Because I've made baba ganoush, but I've never made white chocolate. Are you ready for this? Triple chocolate beef and bean chili. Andy, you like chili?
I love your chili.
What do you think about doing triple chocolate beef and bean? But you know what that means, triple chocolate? It could either mean it's got a milk chocolate, got a dark chocolate, and it's got a white chocolate in the beef and bean chili.
Now,
whoa.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit carried away on that. Wow. All right. Go ahead.
You want some more? You ready for some more?
You bet.
Okay. There is a charred cauliflower and chotito peppers, and that's made of almond, parsley, chocolate, like a pesto. And you mix it up and you pour it all over that. Should be interesting. There's a turkey and chicken mole sauce, which is very common. People have it because chilies and chocolate always pair well together. Ready for this one? Gonna blow your mind. Chocolate barbecue sauce.
Ooh! Oh my gosh. Yeah. Go ahead. Talk about
there's a beef stew with chocolate. There's enchiladas with rich Mexican chocolate. And then, this is interesting. I'm gonna try this too. It's called chili ancho sopa de chocolate. And you know what that really is? It's a chocolate soup. But it's made with
chocolate soup?
Wait a minute.
I don't know about you guys. I didn't know all this stuff.
It's made with blackened peppers, onions, tomatoes, and chocolate. Now, reading those ingredients doesn't sound very good, but it could be. Then the last one, I actually have stuff to make that with, and that's an eggplant capitanata, which is like a baba ganoush, and that's got onion, raisins, celery, canned tomatoes, capers, and semi-sweet chocolate.
Now, Carol, let me tell you something. You know me. I'm a simple guy. All I want is my Nestle's Crunch, which didn't make the list, or my Kit Kat. What about you? Did you know you can have all these types of different foods with chocolate? Because guess what? If you have dark chocolate once a day, it has some health benefits. For example, you might have heard this. If you have some dark chocolate, what will happen? It can, I'm not going to say it does, I'm not a doctor, it can in fact reduce the risk of heart disease.
I have heard that.
And that would be really interesting.
So I need to have my dark chocolate every day.
And here's something else you probably never realized, and this is great for Florida, and I don't know why people don't push this much further. They claim that chocolate can protect your skin from sunburn.
Wow, I never heard that one.
Yep, and I'm not saying you should put chocolate on your arms or on your face, so I'm not going there. But a study said that if you have hot chocolate in the morning with extra flavonoids, and that's a compound in chocolate that have antioxidant effects, it reduces your chance for sunburn. So my suggestion is when the summer comes along and we're no longer restricted by COVID and you can go outside, by all means, instead of having coffee, go ahead and have what? Hot chocolate and reduce your chances of sunburn. Yes, you probably didn't know that. But listen to this. Would you ever consider having chocolate for breakfast?
Sure, because we have croissants that have chocolate filling. I've had those for breakfast.
Yes.
That was back before I stopped, but those were delicious.
Oh, yes. Chocolate croissants, chocolate chip pancakes. I think you used to make those. Chocolate chip pancakes, chocolate donuts, chocolate Dutch babies, all for breakfast. Bet you didn't even know that. And I think you talked about some things for dinner, which are really important.
Yes.
And would you ever have a piece of chocolate before you go to sleep at night?
Well, that's interesting because they say you shouldn't have coffee, and I wonder if chocolate would keep you up, but I don't know that chocolate makes you drowsy.
Doesn't make you drowsy, not that we know.
What does it do?
Gives you, it's supposed to be good for you. And watch this. Do you like chocolate fudge? See, you probably never knew all this chocolate stuff. Do you like chocolate fudge?
Rich for me.
Chocolate fudge has the power to improve your day and your life. When that hot fudge meets cold ice cream, what happens? Something overpowering takes over, and it definitely improves your day.
You're not talking about fudge. You're talking about hot chocolate.
Yes.
Oh, yes, I like that.
Hot
chocolate fudge. Yes.
Isn't that great?
Okay.
All right. I got one more, and then we're going to turn it back to you.
Okay.
So if you listen to me very carefully, you got to come closer, because I don't want everybody to know this. If you have a grandson or great-grandson or daughter or grandkids who have problems with math, you want to hear this, you want to write this down, you want to tell them, forget their tutors. Chocolate may help you in math class.
Who knew?
Who knew?
I could have been eating chocolate when I was taking math.
Again, it could just help with numbers in life. Apparently, the flavonoids, once again, those compounds that have antioxidant effects in chocolate, can help people with their number skills. Now remember, that's the same flavonoids that help you reduce the chances for a sunburn. Therefore, tell your kids to have the chocolate outside.
I bet they can't wait to get to their math.
And then it'll help their math. And then when their grades increase and the teacher says, hey, what did you do? Well, very simple. I had more chocolate. Carol, back to you.
All right, you guys remember Marie Antoinette? She loved her cake, but guess what else? She loved her hot chocolate too. And hot chocolate was frequently served at the Palace of Versailles. It wasn't just the taste everybody loved, but it was believed that drink was what? An aphrodisiac.
Aphrodisiac, yes.
Okay.
And you know what an aphrodisiac is, right?
It's a stimulant.
That of what to participate in intimate relations.
Yes, that's correct. And Dandy said before cacao or cocoa was used as currency, and it was valued so highly that the Aztecs loved it, and they used it at their height of their civilization.
I'm going to pause you for a moment, Carol.
Okay.
I've got a great idea. After we conclude this, why don't you partake in a cup of hot chocolate?
Okay, sounds good to me.
And that will act as an aphrodisiac. All right. Hey, I'm just thinking, okay? I'm just thinking here. All right, go ahead.
All right, Spanish friars helped spread the love. After cacao and chocolate were introduced to Europe, traveling Spanish friars took it to various monasteries, handily spreading it around the continent. Look, we have chocolate, it's fabulous. A pair of British confectioners invented solid chocolate. The Fry and Sons shop concocted what they called eating chocolate in 1847 by combining cocoa butter, sugar, and chocolate liquor. But this was kind of like a grainy, solid form of the treat. Do you know that cocoa and cacao are the same thing? The words are interchangeable, but it's all one bean.
And let's continue. Now, I did find out why you should have some chocolate before you go to sleep.
Okay.
Let's assume for a moment you're having a stressful day and you have problems sleeping, or even during the day you're stressed out for some reason. According to the Journal of Psychopharmacology, and by the way, if you're a pharmacologist, you might know this, that people who consumed more chocolate reported feeling calmer than those that didn't. So, if you want to calm yourself down, have some chocolate. If you want to get intimate, have some chocolate. If you want to do better in math, have some chocolate. If you want to go ahead and reduce chances of sunburn, have some chocolate.
And you want to protect yourself from heart disease,
have some chocolate. And once again, I want to repeat the disclaimer. Carol and I have no investments in any chocolate company. None of our kids are involved in chocolate company.
I just like chocolate.
We just like chocolate, and we wanted to share our passion for chocolate with you, because if you don't know these things and we do, we're not doing you a service by not sharing this stuff. All right, Carol, what else you got?
Remember Napoleon? He loved chocolate, and he loved wine, and he made everyone bring it to him during intense military campaigns. So, remember this familiar name, Baker's Chocolate. You see it in the supermarket. It comes in a bar. It says Baker's Chocolate. It's not just for baking. Dr. James Baker and John Hannon founded their chocolate company, and they later called it the Walter Baker Chocolate in 1765. That's where the term Baker's Chocolate comes from, not to denote chocolate that's just meant for cooking. And
Go ahead.
We have Milton Hershey. He really was a candy king. The Pennsylvania native may be best known for starting the Hershey Chocolate Company in good old Hershey, Pennsylvania. We've been there.
We went there.
But he got his start in candy long before hooking up with chocolate. He founded his first company, the Lancaster Caramel Company, when he was just 30 years old.
Wow. All right. Here's some more. Listen to this as we move a little bit further. It takes 400 cocoa beans to make 1 pound of sugar. Chocolate. 1 pound of chocolate. 400 cocoa beans.
Wow.
All right. Now, which country in the entire world do you think consumes more chocolate per capita than any other country?
Israel?
Switzerland.
Switzerland.
No question about it. Switzerland. And they expect 4.85 million metric tons of chocolate to be manufactured.
And it was invented in Switzerland in 1875.
But here's the problem.
But it took him 8 years of trying to make the recipe work. Condensed milk ended up being the key ingredient in that chocolate.
Yeah, but there's some downsides.
What?
That the average cocoa farmer makes less than $1 a day.
Oh, that's awful.
And it gets even worse. Child labor continues to be an industry-wide issue, with more than 2 million children engaged in dangerous labor on cocoa farms in West Africa. All right, let's see what else we can come up with, because now we're going to get into even something more amazing, things you never even realized. Here we go. For example, Europe accounts for more than 1/2 of the world's chocolate consumption. But, here we go. What was the biggest chocolate bar by weight ever created? Anybody know?
100 pounds?
100 pounds. Anybody else? Anybody else want to take a guess? I'm looking for somebody to say 1,000 pounds. Anybody want to say 1,000 pounds? Good. You said 1,000 pounds. I'm now looking for 5,000 pounds. Anybody want to? 8,000 pounds. I got 8,000 pounds. Anybody want to go for 10,000 pounds?
18,000 pounds.
18,000 pounds is too high. The biggest chocolate bar ever, 12,770 pounds.
Wow.
And that was done by the Thorntons in September 7th, 2011. Okay, we're there. Let me say this. The chocolate chip cookie. Who doesn't like the chocolate chip cookie? As a matter of fact, I'm going to prove to you that the chocolate chip cookie has an indirect relationship to Post-it notes and has an indirect relationship to penicillin.
Wow, I'm anxious to hear this.
All right. What does penicillin and the 3M Post-it notes have in common?
Penicillin was developed by, I don't know.
Here we go. They were both invented by accident.
Okay.
They did not know that it was going to work, as happened with the chocolate chip cookie. Somebody didn't say, hey, I want to put cookies in a cookie, therefore I'm going to have a chocolate chip cookie. Oh, no, that would be too simple. There was a lady by the name of Ruth Graves Wakefield, and she invented the chocolate chip. The cookie was developed in her kitchen by accident just in the 1930s.
Did some chocolate chips fall into her cookie batter?
Yes, and by the way, she had an in. Anybody want to take, this is a bonus question. If anybody, I didn't know this, if anybody can figure out what was the name of her inn in Massachusetts?
Chocolate?
Toll House.
Toll House.
Yes, Toll House. Yes,
so
Toll House.
She's the creator of the Toll House chocolate chip?
And the whole thing about chocolate chip cookies.
Wow.
Here we go. She was trying to make a batch of butter drop dew cookies, but instead the chocolate chips in the batter stayed intact, and the iconic cookie was born.
Unbelievable.
Now, let's get spiritual and let's get religious when it comes to chocolate. How are we going to do that?
I do not know.
Here we go. The scientific name for the tree that chocolate comes from means foods for the gods. Even scientists were a big fan of chocolate. A guy by the name of Linnaeus, he named the cocoa tree Thembura coca, which translates literally to coca, food of the gods, in 1753. How about that?
Wow.
Back to you, Carol.
All right, guess what? The very first chocolate bar was made in England in 1842. The Cadbury Company, and you know that name because usually around holiday times of Passover and Easter, Cadbury comes out with all these things. They made the very first chocolate bar. The company is still around and is perhaps most famous for their Easter treat. So, cocoa, is now grown in Africa. It covers nearly 70% of the world's supply. The Ivory Coast is the largest single producer, providing about 30% of all the world's cacao.
Wow. All right. Thanks.
So when you talked about cacao trees, did you tell them that they can live to be 200 years old?
I did not tell them that. You were here right with me.
Yes. But you know what? But
What?
the tropical beauties only make viable cacao beans for just 25 years of their lifespan. So the rest of the 175 years, they don't do anything. Only 25 years they do.
Wow. Interesting. All right. Let's move on. The chocolate has over 600 flavor compounds. And in comparison, red wine only has 200. The word chocolate comes from the Aztec word Oxcolati. But here's something else they never taught you in history class.
Do they have to get their money back?
They have to get their money back. You got to go find it. By the way, if you were a teacher in history about the American Revolutionary War and you did not tell your students this, I don't care if it was elementary school, junior high school, college, graduate course, then you have an obligation after listening to this to finding out where your students are and update their education. Here we go. During the Revolutionary War, some soldiers were fighting for freedom in exchange for
Chocolate?
chocolate. According to research done by the chocolate and candy company Mars International, since chocolate didn't spoil, it was used as rations during the war, and instead of getting money, they got chocolate.
That's interesting. Then it was probably a certain type of made into a candy bar because basically chocolate melts in the heat.
No.
Wait a minute. Actually, I have the answer.
I know
to
you
that.
do.
Yes.
I know.
Chocolate has a special melting point. Chocolate is the only edible substance to melt around 93 degrees Fahrenheit, which is just below the human body temperature.
That's right.
That's why chocolate melts so easily on your tongue.
There it is. You see, these are things you didn't know. Here's something else you didn't know. Hershey's Kisses. Now, it didn't make the top 10 list. But here's something amazing. Here we're going to go again. How many Hershey Kisses do you think Hershey makes in one day?
100,000.
Okay. 100,000. I'm not going to play the game. 70 million.
Wow.
Now, could you imagine for a moment if they could make 70 million Hershey Kisses in one day? Wouldn't it be great if they could make 70 million COVID vaccines?
Yes, I
In
knew you
one
were
day.
I knew you were going there.
In one day?
I knew you were going there.
Now,
But that's a little bit different.
all right, now, you have Hershey's Kisses. Did you ever know where the name came from? Why did they call it Hershey Kisses?
I don't know.
Is it because when you have a Hershey Kiss, you kiss? Well, that's what the advertisement says. But it came from because the tiny chocolate treats came from something because when they actually got its name, it was the sound of the chocolate making that it made coming out of the machine during the manufacturing process. That's right. That's the sound that it made. And when they were hearing the sound, that's how they caught it. All right, let's go on to some more. Who made the very first chocolate cookie dough ice cream?
I don't know.
Ben and Jerry.
Ben and Jerry. Oh, the cookie dough ice cream. Okay, yes, you're right. Ben
Yes.
and Jerry.
Now, you remember I told you earlier that I had nothing to do with chocolate? I don't. But how many of us are familiar with the movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?
Yes.
Why did Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory movie, why was that made?
I don't know.
It was an advertisement from Quaker Oats to promote its new Wonka bar candy.
Who? I never heard of Wonka bar.
Yeah, but we all know Willy Wonka.
Is it even around?
I have no idea. It certainly didn't make the top 10. And the very first chocolate bar was invented in 1847. And it is absolutely amazing. Now, you got more? Go ahead, Carol.
No.
All right. So, listen to this. The Three Musketeers bars. Three Musketeers. Who here likes Three Musketeers? And what happened? They were originally 3 pieces to a package, which is why it's called the Three Musketeers. Things you probably never knew about. All right, here's another one. We talked about the largest chocolate bar and how much it weighed. Here's a question. The most valuable chocolate bar in the world, how much do you think it cost back in 2001?
$500.
$687. It was a Cadbury bar that was over 100 years old. Now, Carol, you asked me a question one time, and that was, why do men buy their women chocolate for Valentine's Day?
Well, obviously, if it's a
aphrodisiac,
then that would be the reason.
So
chocolates are so popular on Valentine's Day or any kind of other
Now,
holiday.
guys, I got to ask you a question. When you bought candy for your wife, did you know it was an aphrodisiac? Ladies, when your husband or lover gave you the Valentine's box of candy, chocolate candy, did you know that he was giving that to you as an aphrodisiac?
No, I think people just like chocolate.
You think so?
Yes.
Well, ask yourself this question. Men, when you bought your lady friend a lingerie for Valentine's Day,
that was for them.
was that for her?
That was for you.
Or was that for you? So there we go. We got certainly a lot there. And how many millions of pounds of chocolate are purchased on Valentine's Day? 58 million.
Wow.
58 million pounds. Now, these are facts that you need to know about chocolate, because these are things that were not part of your base of knowledge. And it's important that when you have that chocolate bar that is so tasting, so tempting, so tantalizing, so delicious, so nutritious. You see,
we'll see.
We just said it was nutritious.
The dark chocolate.
Yes.
The dark chocolate.
Yes.
My favorite.
Tasting, tempting, tantalizing, delicious, nutritious, irresistibly refreshing. You got to know these things. You can't take chocolate for granted. You can't just say, hey, I have chocolate. You have to feel sorry for the people that didn't have the chocolate ice cream dough before Ben and Jerry decided to have it. And can you imagine all the people throughout the entire world before 1930 never having a chocolate chip cookie? And you've been taking advantage of that invention for gosh knows how many years? You cannot go another day without knowing all these chocolatier facts. But you know what? There's more. Let's assume for a moment that you're traveling around the world. There is actually an airport that sells more chocolate than any other airport in the world.
Is that Switzerland?
No.
Oh, France.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
England.
No.
Okay. United States?
No.
I don't know.
This'll surprise you.
I'm sure.
Brussels.
Brussels.
Why? You bet.
Why?
The airport's website reports that they are the biggest seller of chocolate around the world. They sell 800 tons of Belgium chocolate per year.
Maybe there's nothing to do with the airport, so everybody's buying chocolate to eat.
All right. Now, what famous, you need to know this stuff. Watch this. There's a dollar bill that has the name of President Ben Franklin and his face on, well, not a dollar bill, American currency. Here's something you didn't know. Guess who was a purveyor of chocolate? Ben Franklin. The History Channel noted that one of America's founding fathers used to sell chocolate in his Philadelphia print shop. And he sold chocolate with his stationery supplies and Bibles in 1739. And the French celebrate April Fool's Day with fish-shaped chocolate. Now, here's another one. You got to know this stuff. Hang in there. I don't want you to miss this.
Got to know this stuff.
You got to know this stuff. Here we go. What is Snickers is a very famous bar, as we talked about, the Snickers bar. How did it get its name?
Somebody snickered?
Okay. All right. Somebody snickered. Not necessarily. The Mars family, remember it's Mars Chocolate? Who founded Mars Candy Bar, they named the candy bar after their horse. Snicker.
Okay.
And they did that in 1930. So I bet you didn't know that.
No.
Nope. And I bet you're happy you know that. Don't tell me you're not, because I know you're going to use this information one day. I just know it. And Nestle's chocolate was founded in 1866. But you know what makes chocolate so famous? I'm going to describe a scene to you that you're going to remember, and I doubt if anybody our age has not seen this particular clip, which has made one particular woman, two women, I should say, extremely famous. It comes from an old TV show. Care to guess what I'm talking about? Anybody know? It has to do with an assembly line.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I Love Lucy.
Yes, you bet. I Love Lucy. Remember that one where they're doing all the candies and stuff, and they're wrapping it up? Yes, and you thought candy had no part of that. All right, here we go. M&M's. Yes, it's one of the greatest things in the world, and according to the Smithsonian Institute, M&M's have been taken to space 130 times.
Good snack for outer space.
Yeah, it really is. It melts in your mouth. Cadbury makes 1.5 million cream eggs a day, which I think nobody really knew. And some of the other, and the first Cadbury egg, by the way, was invented in 1875. And yes, the Swiss people actually have more chocolate. They eat more than anybody else. And one more thing, Milky Way bars. You know, we have something in the Milky Way. We call the Milky Way. All right, great. Now, by the way, there's some stuff we haven't covered yet, which we'll do in a few more moments. And that is, why did they call it Milky Way? Anybody want to take a guess?
I don't know.
Because it was named after a popular Milky Way malt milkshake, according to the official Milky Way Facebook. So there was a famous Milky Way malt shake, and they called it the Milky Way bars to remind you of it.
What, remember Milk Duds?
Milk Duds, of course. Now, we didn't even go into, listen to this. This is nuts. This is nuts. So, chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk.
Yes.
Chocolate egg cream.
Chocolate egg cream. By the way, if you're not from New York, then you don't know what a chocolate egg cream is. And I apologize. If you know somebody from New York, by all means, ask them.
Chocolate syrup.
Chocolate syrup.
Some club soda or seltzer, a little bit of milk, mix it up,
It's
you got yourself an egg cream.
Absolutely delicious. And we talk about chocolate malteds, chocolate milkshake, chocolate milk. By the way, chocolate liqueur.
Chocolate liqueur.
Can you think of anything that we might have missed that has anything to do with chocolate in terms of eating it or in terms of a liquid? I'm trying to think if there's any other...
Chocolate licorice.
Oh my gosh.
My favorite.
Chocolate licorice. Who would have believed? Wow. So...
You know what?
What?
People put M&M's and all kinds of chocolate things in their popcorn.
Oh, yeah, they have chocolate-flavored popcorn.
Well, not only that, you just have the plain popcorn and throw all the stuff in and just mix it up.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
And, by the way, do you know who else loves chocolate?
Who?
As a matter of fact, and if I'm going to say something that is inappropriate, I'm going to apologize in advance. You know who loves people who eat lots of chocolate? Dentists. Dentists, okay? See, the one thing they don't tell you, and by the way, I know if you're a dentist, I apologize in advance, but we do know that around Halloween time, how much chocolate candy is sold and how many of the kids end up with additional cavities as a result of having all that chocolate. And you know what else we forgot, Carol?
What?
Wow. When you go to a wedding, right? What is it? Well, I think we had one of those. They had the chocolate fondue.
Oh, they had the chocolate fountain.
The chocolate fountain and the pouring chocolate. Bananas dipped in chocolate. Oh my gosh. So, what do you think so far about this whole thing having to do with chocolate?
Amazing.
You're probably bewildered. You're probably going to say, oh yeah, it's too much information. They dumped way too much on me.
Or you're going to say, I'm full. I've had a lot of chocolate.
Yeah. But remember this, if you want to give someone an aphrodisiac, there's chocolate. I bet you didn't know that before this. If you want to have a restful sleep, have chocolate. If you want to reduce the chances of heart disease, have chocolate. If you want to reduce stress, have chocolate. And if you actually want to live a little bit longer, have chocolate. Why? Less stress, less heartache, more sex equals a longer life. I bet you didn't know that. So the whole world is centered around...
So then if somebody's getting upset and you instead of saying calm down, you should say, have a piece of chocolate.
Ah, you're absolutely right. And if somebody says, I'm not in the mood, what do you tell them?
Have a piece of chocolate.
Yeah, see, you didn't know this stuff, and now you do. So, I don't know, Carol, do you think we rambled on enough about chocolate, or you've got more things that we want to talk about?
No, we're done with chocolate.
We're done with chocolate. So, we have unwrapped, like that, we have unwrapped the entire story of chocolate
The mystique of chocolate from its origins till today.
So, we want to wish you all a magnificent chocolate experience, one filled with delicate flavors, a memorable experience filled with a variety of options. And remember, the next time you go for breakfast, order hot chocolate. We explain to you why. And see what happens when the dining room all of a sudden has a rush on hot chocolate. You never know what happens. You'll always come back to this particular discussion and saying, Oh, did I learn a lot today. And remember Christopher Columbus and Mars candy and Hershey bars and Snickers and all of that. And remember, you can buy as much chocolate as you want on Amazon.com, on MilkyWay.com.
And we have no ties to
We have
Amazon.
no ties to Amazon or anything else whatsoever. So we hope, once again, that you've enjoyed this little discussion about chocolate. This is...
I'm Carol.
And I'm Andy Greenberg. It was a pleasure having you participate and co-host and giving us all this information. And with that being said, we say adios, enjoy life, have fun, and we can't wait to see you next time on the same channel. We'll see you. Bye-bye.